Hey guys, Travis Pastrana here, and I'll be your host for Season 5, Episode 7, Climb to the Clouds recap, coming in at number 1, yours truly. Epic battle with David Higgins and myself. So much fun, so much nostalgia. I mean, the longest running race in America, and to have an opportunity to go up that in such an amazing car. Subaru Rally Team USA just gave us the absolute fastest vehicle I've ever had the chance to sit in. And when I took off, I had an instant smile and then an instant, I gotta drive this thing to the top of this very treacherous but awesome mountain.
Records are made to be broken. Humanity has proven that time and again. Setting a record puts your name in the history books amongst legends. And in the hill climb world, the Mount Washington Auto Road is held in high regard. Cameras don't do it justice. They don't show just how narrow it is, how the camber teeters from edge to edge. They betray how steep it gets, or the risk required to rewrite the record book. Every 3 years, the hill climb community gets their chance. They bring all the horsepower they can muster. They gather their courage and their resolve. And this weekend, Subaru Rally Team USA will attempt to renew their existing record with one that will stand the test of time. The two drivers will run the lightest and fastest rally cars ever built at Vermont Sports Car, as they try and stamp their name on this historic event, which for over 100 years has been a true defining test of team and machine. This is Launch Control. "6:45 a.m. All is calm at the base of the mountain. Subaru Rally Team USA arrives for the third consecutive day on the mountain.
It's pretty cool. Any day that's this beautiful on this mountain, where you got a chance to go faster than anyone has ever gone and set a record. I mean, I was worried it was gonna be a foggy day, I was worried it was gonna be a rainy day, and things change on the mountain quick, but it's looking good.
We're here at the 2017 Subaru Mount Washington Hill Climb. Such an awesome event, one of the most ultimate driving challenges I think there is. Certainly the biggest challenge I've ever come across.
The last 2 days were practice. Today, the teams will get 2 full runs up the 7.5 mile, 4,600 foot climb.
Different tire strategy. Always got to do something different.
I think the funniest thing behind the scenes was, you get a couple days to kind of get the mountain memorized. And I had the luxury of going up before and doing some runs for Red Bull, and then I wasn't able to go one year that David did. So we were about even on runs up the hill. I have a pretty good memory on that kind of stuff, but still, every bit of focus is on running the hill. And he was able to get a run up before. He was 6 a.m. at the mountain talking to the guys, first guy up, nobody to slow him down, and actually had like a legit run up the hill where they kind of said, yeah, you're good, no one's up there. Well, I got there about noon and he's bragging, how many runs have you taken up the hill? And now I had been on my computer all morning, but I told him, I was golfing. He's like, what? I was like, I must start to get old. Yeah, I had this thing memorized before I got here. Yeah, it's a fun road, huh? And of course I didn't have the road memorized, and just mind games, but I just want to thank David for everything he's done for me. And we had this great relationship where we helped each other as much as we could but we both really wanted to win. And I think just seeing that look on his face is something that I will never forget from practice and qualifying going into that race.
As their start times draw near, the drivers mount up. With the fastest times in practice, they'll both start near the end of the session. David Higgins is the 2014 record holder and first of the Subarus today. These are anything but the standard rally cars.
This year, Vermont Sports Car have given us some beast to go and try and tame the hill with.
Basically, they've taken the rally motor out, put the GRC motor in, and then stripped the car of anything that weighs anything that isn't for safety.
They've been lightened with a stiffer tarmac suspension and brake package added. And the engine from the Rallycross program has been installed, giving them double the power and torque figures. They tested these machines earlier in the week, and the outright speed was impressive, to the point of being nerve-wracking.
2 corners of the first practice run, that excitement turned into a pretty even split between panic and fear.
This is the fastest Subaru I've ever driven, up the craziest mountain I've ever driven.
Got to really forget everything we've done from before and relearn this new way of driving these type of cars. My biggest competition is also my teammate.
David is a better driver. He has driven more, he has more experience driving. He can find the limits of cars a little bit quicker. I find it by crashing.
The reality is that we've got to go out and beat each other as well.
To compete with David, to be even on his in the same ballpark as David Higgins, I have to take huge risks. I have to do it all the way up, and these cars are so fast. I'm nervous.
With testing and practice out of the way, it's now down to the business of replacing a record. Higgins is off the line. Without a co-driver, this is a unique challenge. They've both spent countless hours on the mountain in preparation.
David Higgins is my mentor, my coach. He's the guy I looked up to the most in rally, outside of maybe Colin McRae, but definitely the guy that's been there from day one at Tim O'Neill Rally School with myself and Kenny Bartram. And we were just got my driver's license pretty much. And he's helped me every step of the way, but there's always that mind games. And we finally got to the point where David stopped sharing a lot of his in-car and just different things. It's like, all right, we're now competitors. And that was the greatest honor to me.
Higgins is flying as he passes the radar, clocking 116 miles per hour. A new speed trap record. Back at the bottom of the mountain, the 2 800 horsepower hill climb cars between Higgins and Pastrana have departed up the hill. A 3-minute window is all the time left between Pastrana and the mountain. With no split times to know what his teammate is doing. That's because this mountain is anything but forgiving. Over 100 years ago, before the Indy 500 or Pikes Peak Hill Climb were born, the first Mount Washington Hill Climb took place. It started with steam power and grew from there. Today, a variety of classes run the mountain. Some just for the challenge, others for class victory, and a few aspire to owning the record. And while Pikes Peak may finish at a higher altitude, Mount Washington has a more complex and challenging path to its peak. Everyone who is here knows there's a possibility that they won't succeed. Back on board with Higgins, His run has reached fever pitch. David's focus on each corner is critical. His teammate behind him, he'll set the benchmark time for the record today.
And there's a lot of corners that look very, very similar. When we did it with pace notes before with a co-driver, and we know exactly where we're going to go, exactly where we're going to turn. Now you're going to do it on your own. Some of these corners, it might be a high-speed fourth gear corner. It could also be one that's like a really slow third gear corner. So now I'm trying to do everything that I've taught myself not to do over the last 20 years of rallying. You know, forget what the pace note crawl was, but look at landmarks where things change and where, you know, marker posts where the marshals are, and try and get some visuals from this.
David clears the tree line. He's more than halfway up and on track to shave nearly 30 seconds off the record.
In one of the practices, I had like an overflow of an oil pipe that was leaking and it was burning. And the second my mind started to think about what's that smell, I stopped remembering where the road was. Where in a rally situation, you've always got the reminder of the road there. Now I've got to really ignore everything else around me and just stay in the focus, stay in the zone of the road.
This could be the run that rewrites the history books. But it's not meant to be. David's unhurt, but his record attempt is over.
At the bottom half of the mountain, you're in the trees. So you can kind of get a cheat when you look up, when you come into a crest, you're like, oh, that one goes left or that one goes right, or this is the tight corner, because you can see what's kind of coming up. Whereas when you go to the top, all the crests look exactly the same. You just see sky. You know, right when you come into that dirt section, there's a wide open turn and then another wide open turn and then a hairpin right. So he slowed down on the first one and then thought that it was the second one and just went wide open through the hairpin pretty much. So it's real easy if you get scared or you start thinking about something or what you did or anything to forget where you are, because a lot of these you're just going on the beats.
Back at the start line, Pastrana is set to start his run in less than a minute. He revs his engine to bring it up to temperature. Pressure is on. Seconds to go. And the race organizers stop his run before it starts.
When you're sitting at the bottom of the hill or you're sitting at the starting line or you're about to take off, you're thinking of everything that you got to go over, making sure that you remember every crest, every turn on this windy, sketchy road. And right before I'm about to start, I get word that someone's off. And first thing you think is, how are they okay? Are they alive? Then I found out it's David, and your heart sinks more. And then you find out that he's okay, and you're waiting, and you're like, oh, all right, well, at least he's okay. But now, that's my benchmark. So do I bring it back a little bit? Subaru says, hey, we have to get one of our cars to the top of the hill. But you know, this might be your only chance to set that record, to do something that's beyond catchable for years to come. And all of those make it really difficult to know just how hard you're going to press down that right foot. So of course, I went 10/10ths.
Words made it down the mountain that there's been a crash. At this point, they don't know it's Higgins.
15-minute break.
There's a red flag.
Shutting down.
Red flag.
Not sure what happened.
Somebody, I don't know. He's just told me red flag.
At 24, though.
Travis turns off his car to conserve fuel.
Okay, so we're sending the 4 cars down for a rerun. So everybody really got a rerun ahead of us. So if you want to push them right back out of the way, that's fine.
So we're going to be bringing some cars back.
The team's told that all cars affected by the red flag will have to restart.
Travis back out of the way.
That's when the word comes down that it's David that has caused the red flag.
That had the problem. He's fine. He's off over the edge or something. I don't know about the car. It's all for now.
David, I'm off.
David, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay.
Mega disappointed just from the effort and the work that you put into it, and the fact that the run was going so well. Really got everything really good up to that point, but unfortunately there's a really deceptive bit with a few corners in this lead up to that one, and I thought I had one more faster corner before there. Then when I came over there it was a bit too late, so I just tried to send it in and pin it and see what happens, but smacked the hell out of the rock to a point where the brake disc and the wheel and everything stayed there, and that was it, game over. But these things happen when you try, and you know, I've always said if you're going fast enough to win an event, you're going fast enough to crash an event, and that's no different today.
Well, sucks for David, but it's almost harder now knowing that. All right, go like hell. Same plan.
With the course cleared, focus turns back to Travis. For the second time, he gears himself up to depart. This time, there is no interruption. With his teammate out of the equation, the pressure is slightly less, but that's not to say he's stress-free. He's here to set a record that will stand the test of time. Through the speed trap, he's slower than David at 110 miles per hour. He's conserving his tires, which could help his time higher on the mountain. Down at base camp, the team waits for updates.
He's a Pepto-Bismol.
It's pretty rare that I get like nervous when the car goes out, but
I was. In all these years I've been doing it, and then like it's going off, and you're like, yeah, it's until you see somebody in car with these cars now the way they are, you're like, you know, it's a gnarly place. But then you add the extra power and the less weight and the speed that they go in now, it's like it's not a forgiving place.
At the split, Pastrana is 1.5 seconds off David's incomplete run, but still well ahead of the race pace from 2014.
Without a doubt, I know I can break the old record. With these cars, if I can't, it's not because the car isn't capable. We should be literally between 10, maybe 20 seconds faster than last year.
For me, racing always ranks higher on the scared factor than freestyle or doing tricks or anything. I mean, yeah, there's certain tricks along the way that you're not sure if they're going to work, and yeah, those rank really high. But with racing, you know every single turn, every single inch of that entire run, you're going to be at 10/10ths if you're hoping you're not at 11/10ths. I run out of town a lot, and I always overestimate my abilities, and when you go in, there's no time to be scared. But a hill like Mount Washington, there's just so much risk, and you're not going to go slower because there's risk. And as a matter of fact, it's the fastest car I've ever driven in my entire life, so probably the fastest I've ever driven in the scariest conditions. So yeah, I think Mount Washington is definitely my top 5 craziest, most scared, dangerous but controlled situations ever, if that makes any sense.
Lefts and rights into rights and lefts. Every corner looks almost the same. Some you have to brake, others you push through.
This mountain's really interesting because you see a lot of people go off just thinking they're in the wrong corner, because really at that point it's just not only memory, but memory of where you are. And if you get scared, you tend to forget what corner you just passed last. There's not openings, there's not trees, there's not markers. They all look exactly the same, and all of them are different.
Pastrana's visual memory helps him recall the road as he picks up the pace.
When it came down to tracks, I can still tell you almost every track and every line and the changes of every year, of every racetrack since I was 6 years old. That's good. However, this is not the same road that we drove up. It is, but these cars are so much better.
The awareness of each corner, coupled with courage and car handling, is the making of a masterful run.
I have a really good memory when my adrenaline is at a 10, but I have a hard time memorizing roads just driving them. So the first time that I really get a good feel for the road is when you're going wide open. Now you got, 2 runs at the top, 2 runs at the bottom to get a feel of it. And those 2 runs, I will memorize the course better than I will 2,000 runs up without being wide open. So I am very fortunate to have a good memory like that, and I think most of the rally drivers, you need that. John Buffum, greatest rally driver in America of all time, who was also our team manager at the time, he can still remember roads like the back of his hand that he raced in the 80s. So, it's definitely a key factor. But switching the vehicle changed so many of the dynamics that I had memorized that it was almost worse having memorized the road before, because the car was in the air a lot more, and the corners all felt sharper.
He clears the tree line. Here he can see more of what's coming, but also the immense drop to one side.
The one thing that's got really difficult for the driver now this year is everything that I had marked flat and wide open, corners that I didn't even think about, are now braking, sliding, turning. So I got to relearn this mountain. But I've always been able to step up to wherever the competition level is. And I really believe that I will be able to do that on this race, but I'm going to have to take risks.
Onto the dirt, and his pulse quickens. He doesn't know his split time, but he's on track to shatter the record. Passing where Higgins went off, he's carrying the torch for the team. Off the dirt and onto the fastest section of the entire mountain. Commitment is required.
The top part, it's almost all wide open. There's some sections that are wide open, but it's got a rock on the inside of one side, inside the other side, inside this side, and it's straight if you're perfect. But the road undulates and the car hops around, and if you miss the line by this much, you either got a flat or you're going off. And when you're doing that at 100, 120 with a infinity 4,000 foot cliff, it's one of the scariest things you'll ever do in your life.
Climbing to the clouds, he's on the home stretch. Flat through the last corner and over the line. A new record has been set. 5 minutes, 44.72 seconds.
I think one of the funniest things is when you watch it, you see my face. There's no real emotion. It wasn't like, yeah, that was the greatest run ever, so excited. Just like trying to get your heart to come back to where it should be, and you're like, I didn't die. Okay, what was my time? Good. That's fine. So it kind of has an anticlimactic feel to such a monumental moment, but it's not because it's not exciting. It's just because you're just like your mind, emotion, everything's just spent. And it's like you're coming out of shock.
Up and down the mountain, realization of the feat sets in.
Yeah. Whoa.
Great job with the car, guys. This is freaking amazing. Really appreciate helping us out. Man, epic job, guys. Thank you.
Fantastic job, Travis. Well done. We're all really happy, and congratulations. Awesome.
Beat the record. Getting to the top of the mountain, everyone's just pretty excited that they're there. And there's a lot of guys that don't make it to the top. Luckily everyone stayed healthy this year, but like, oh man, did you see, so-and-so off was over here, or man, they got a flat tire over here. And everyone kind of has these own stories. And for me to get to the top, yeah, I was pumped. I turned in the run of my life. But getting there and just feeling like you're part of a whole group of people that just put caution to the wind and drove their vehicle as fast as they physically could. That camaraderie is something that's got to be better than competition.
Excellent. Really good.
Good work, y'all. Seriously. I don't know, I just think it's so cool. Like, in so much racing today, we've got almost everyone has the same car. Like, you look around, no one's got the same car, no one's got the same wings, no one's got the same downforce, the same horsepower, the same turbo. There's cars that do wheelies, there's cars that are front wheel drive. It's like, it's pretty rad. It's just true American hill climbing. It's good. It's good.
The victory parade down with the checkered flag in hand gives Pastrana a few minutes to himself. A moment to let his accomplishments sink in.
There is one big difference, and I hate to point out the elephant in the room, but usually it's usually I know he's gonna come across the finish line, and when I know before I start that he's not gonna come across, I don't crash just to crash. I crash just trying to catch him. So, thank you.
I did my bit.
This meant a lot to me. I mean, to get the record here, Mount Washington, it's something that's real close to everyone's heart at Vermont Sports Car, and to go up with almost double the horsepower by yourself with no co-driver, memorizing the run. It's been months of work on that kind of stuff, on just memorization, and it means a lot. It's really cool.
A record that for the past 30 years has only been shaved seconds at a time has been cut by nearly 30.
It's a really test of our mettle, what we're able to pull off with, the STI here. There's purpose-built hill climb, 800 horsepower beasts of cars here, and we're, working with a production car modified for this event, and we shined, and we think we have the best car for the mountain no matter what, and we would challenge anybody to that.
And in first place with a record-setting time of 5:44.72, Travis Pastrana.
This car was amazing, and I know that the guys at Subaru Rally Team USA are going to come back with something even better next time, and I know Dave's going to be hungry for this next time, and I would love to see anybody that wants to come over and any manufacturer that wants to try to get in. I think this is the beast right here. This Subaru is the best car I've ever driven, and that run up the hill was going to take some work. I'm not saying it can't be beat, but Ken Block, Reese Millen, you guys get your butts out here. Let's have some fun. Next time they open this mountain, bring what you got.
Looking back, it's definitely scary. You see the helicopter footage and even the in-car, but it feels so much faster and scarier in the car that there's no footage that anyone could have possibly taken that makes me feel any more nervous about that than I do when I'm driving up the hill. If it looks fast, it feels really fast. Yeah, it's possibly going to be the greatest experience of your life. It's also possibly going to be the last experience of your life. So definitely a fear factor in there, but hopefully more guys show up and we can put one heck of a show on again.